I do have a lot of conversations with atheists and agnostics. I belong to several groups where theists and agnostics debate each other. Like it's people who like to debate. Sometimes there's just a lot of trolls in some of these places, but sometimes you can get some really good dialogue, and I learn a lot about how atheists and agnostics think. And I brought this up in the groups, and generally the atheists tend to point out, and quite rightly, that but what sometimes is referred to as a hyper agency detector, like this boy with this, they would say, well, you can explain that from the perspective of evolutionary theory and say that we evolved to perceive agency because, if something's moving in the weeds over there, it could be some agent that's going to eat you. And if you're biased toward detecting that, then that's going to enhance your survival. And yeah, well, of course, I wouldn't deny that. But that doesn't mean that God couldn't, if there is a God, right, which we believe, that God couldn't, use an evolutionary process to implant an idea of him in us. You can take that in either direction. But yeah, science is not equipped to prove theism. It's God is transcendent of his creation, and that you can't do an experiment where you're like, okay, let's create a world that's without God and see if it's different than the world with God. And, it would be cool if we could, but it would be, if we could manipulate God as an experimental variable, then it wouldn't be God. We might be studying something, but it wouldn't be God.
Well, either that or that would make us God. And
exactly. We'd have to be God in order to do that. Yeah. So I think that atheists kind of use that to their advantage, right? Because they'll say, well, if you can't prove that God exists empirically, then God does not exist. But if you are able to demonstrate a God who can be, if you're able to demonstrate proof of a God that's open to empirical testing, then it wouldn't be God.
Right.
So it's a catch-22. Right. And so what I tended to point out is that science really, in many ways, presupposes an orderly universe, and there's no reason to presuppose that without believing in God.
Why isn't it just random, completely random?
Yeah. In fact, that's a much more, if you're completely open-minded without any presuppositions, any metaphysical presuppositions, your default presupposition would be like just look around you. Things seem pretty chaotic a lot of the time. Not very orderly, certainly not law-like, right? If you look at how people behave, so we have plenty of reasons to say that things are very unpredictable and chaotic. And if you look to polytheistic, pagan traditions, that's generally how they view the world. I mean, why look for laws in the universe when you're just dealing with a capricious God? The God of the ocean or the God of the sun or whatever God you're dealing with. There, depends on their mood that day.
They woke up on the wrong side of the bed, and they're going to have bring a big storm.
Yeah. I watched the Clash of the Titans, that old 1981 version, with my son because he's learning about Greek mythology. And how the whole story is I think it's Zeus and I'm trying to remember which of the other gods I think it's Zeus and Athena are sort of bowing it out, because Odysseus is his son, and he's jealous because the whole thing is that these gods at war with each other, and the poor Odysseus caught in the middle of it. That's how they perceive the world. It was not an orderly world. You wouldn't look for laws, universal laws, in a world like that. You need a monotheism where you have one logos. So it doesn't make. So I think, and I have had conversations with intellectually honest atheists and agnostics who acknowledge, that you seem to be right, that it seems to be a metaphysical set of presuppositions that maybe are necessary to give birth to our understanding of science and the search for universal knowledge. But once we get there, then we can dispense with all that superstition.
Thank you for watching this Nerding Out short. Click here to watch the full episode. Click the subscribe button and the bell notification to know when we put up new videos. To support the channel, head over to Nerdy Catholic Tees and purchase some nerdy merch of your very own.
System shut down.